Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Thursday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show with my honorary third buck here. I got my guy, the man behind the mic, the videos, Kenny Stubblefield. Kenny, what is going on this Thursday, man?
You know, I things are great. The weather is, the sun is actually shining a little bit. It's a little bit warm for me and you. Our liking. It's we're kind of larger guys, and so we sweat a little bit more. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful day, man. It is funny. I've been doing the show behind the scenes with the Night Court podcast for a year now, almost a year and a half. You know, Rob Fisher still calls me Kenny Summerfield.
I love that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. He calls me Summerfield. I was like, bro, Stubblefield, man. I know it's a tough name. Like, listen, my wife, when we got married, she her name was Tracy Buck. That was her maiden name.
So she's the honorary third buck.
So she's the third buck.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of buck stuff around the house. So this show is very special for that reason. She spent the first year of our marriage apologizing for her name change to her friend. And the way she did it was so funny. She was like, "My name is Tracy Stubblefield?"
Question mark? That's amazing. That's amazing. Shout out DG and Edward B in the comments. If y'all are on X, hop on over to YouTube. That's where the comments get popping. It's where everybody hangs out. While you're here, like and subscribe to our network. Come hang out with us. We've got a bunch of great content creators, great shows. This is just one of many shows on our network that Kenny produces and pushes. You know, we were talking about the weather yesterday, right? Like, if I could live somewhere that was 55 and sunny year round, I'd be happy, because I am a big guy in the South. I am much like, did you ever watch Ridiculousness with Rob Dyrdek?
I did not.
Great show. I love Rob Dyrdek. Love that show. Been a big fan. Well, they had a segment where they would show big guys that moved quickly, and he called them bimbles, nimble big guys. And that's what I think of us, is we are bimbles. We are nimble big guys, still got it athletically, but big dudes.
Yeah. I was working out with my daughter yesterday. She's a volleyball player, 13 years old, getting in the gym, kicking ass in the gym. She's killing it. And we woke up this morning and I was like, "How are you feeling today?" And she was like, "I'm good." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm dying. Like, I am everything hurts, man. It's crazy." But no, trying to keep up with her is crazy. So
tell me about it, dude. Like, there are times where I feel like I still got it, and then I go to the gym and I do a workout, or I step off the curb wrong. I pick up my backpack, my satchel, my work satchel wrong, and I'm down for the count. Like, I just did a hard workout, and it's just like, bro, what is happening? I'm in my late 30s firmly, and I feel that most days.
Bro, I slept wrong the other night and was out for a week with a neck injury. Like,
dude, man,
it's bad.
I saw something on Twitter not long ago. It said, like, welcome to your 30s, where you finally get a good night's sleep, but your body's like, yeah, but you did it wrong.
Yeah. But you didn't lay properly, apparently. Is that how it works? Yeah.
Man, I could sleep on the ground in a corner on a parking lot growing up. It didn't matter. And like, now, if I don't have my pillow just right and my covers just right, like, it's a wrap. I'm going to be so sore or wore out the next day.
You ain't never lied. It's crazy. Getting old is no joke. Daniel Greer knows all about that.
He does. DG is the resident senior citizen around here, and he can attest to it. Well, hey, listen, we got a lot going on in the sports world. We got football, we got baseball, we got basketball. It is always something cooking around here on Bluff City Media. So let's dive right in. That's right. We are the Two Buck Sports Show, live on your lunch break at 12 o'clock for the last time today. Starting Monday, we're going to be at the 11 a.m. slot, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You get more bucks in your life. You may have the normal $2. We're going to have some honorary bucks. We're going to have a lot of cool things coming up this summer, Kenny, and I'm super stoked about it.
Bro, what more could you ask for in this life? Is just you just get more $2 in your life. That's all that matters, bro. It's I'm so excited for you guys. You guys are awesome. You and Drew are just great. I try hard to fill in the shoes when he's not here, but to fill his shoes. But I know he wears size 3, shoes, but
He
but
does.
he's got big shoes to fill. So
yeah, that's it, man. And how many phone books are you sitting on? Because he usually sits on 3. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure which end.
I'm gonna tell you something off air of what I'm sitting on, because if I don't sit on something, I'm down for the count again. So
we're getting old,
bro.
We're getting old. Well, speaking of old, we're gonna be old man yelling at the cloud for here a little bit.
Let's do it.
Kenny, I want to talk real versus counterfeit. It's a segment we do every Thursday. It's gonna be moving to Wednesdays on our new schedule. But on our real versus counterfeit, I will present you some topics and I'll ask if it's real or counterfeit. You tell me what you think, give me an argument, and I'll tell you where you're wrong. That's typically what I do when Uncle Buck does this.
I like it.
So,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So the first one, we have seen a lot of changes to college football over the last several years, right? With the introduction to the college football playoff, the NIL deals, and we have added a second transfer portal period. You have 2 times that are open. Well, of Mississippi State lore, Coach Dan Mullen took us to the Orange Bowl with Dak Prescott and kind of led us to some of our best seasons, is now the head coach at UNLV. He was on a mic this week and said he believes there should only be 1 transfer portal period. He said, get rid of this spring transfer portal in January. This is your team for the rest of the year until the December transfer portal opens. So can I ask you, is it real or counterfeit that there should be 2 transfer portal periods?
I'm going to turn this back around on you for 1 second. Dan Mullen of Mississippi State lore, your home school. How does it feel? Is it weird to you to know that the guy who got fired for not recruiting is now wanting less recruiting to happen?
That's honestly on brand for Dan Mullen. Like when he was in Starkville, he recruited his tail off, man. He was constantly on the road, did a great job, got in some great talent for us. NFL, legends or current stars of Chris Jones and Fletcher Cox and Montez Sweat, and got all these dudes. Then he goes to Florida and he's like, I'm just going to wear cool Jordan shoes and stand on the sideline. Like anything else, that is the ultimate, like, not my job, right? He ain't doing anything. He just said, I'm just going to show up, collect a paycheck. And now he is bitching and moaning about a transfer portal. It is a wild, wild time.
So basically with the transfer portal, the spring transfer portal open in April. I think it's open for 9 days in April. The theory behind it is the teams come back in the spring. So January, February, March, they get their spring practices in. And then the depth charts start to come out. The teams start to kind of realize like what their roster is going to look like. And it gives the players the option, the ability to kind of control their own destiny instead of being stuck on a roster, 7th on the depth chart, whatever. They have an opportunity to potentially go down a level or move over to another spot. The Memphis Tigers got hit by that with Xavier Hill. They're only returning offensive lineman this coming year. Came from LSU, transferred over, played for Memphis for a couple of years, came out of the spring practice, and Colorado came and calling. Deion Sanders said, hey, bro, I got $4 million for you. Come on over here. So he left and went in the transfer portal.
Sure.
It also gives coaches the chance, and I think the quiet part out loud is it gives coaches a chance to let go of some guys that they know aren't going to play and open up roster spots, right? And potentially go and fill some needs coming out of the spring practices. I understand why, I understand what Dan Mullen is saying.
Yeah.
My big issue. So do I think that the spring transfer portal is that real or counterfeit? Should it be closed? I kind of like it. I think I do kind of like it because it does give power to the players a little bit more to be able to control their own narrative, control their own story. My big issue is the December portal, the winter portal. The dates are weird. It's in the middle of the season. I mean, it's at the very end of the season. The college football playoffs haven't even started yet, and they're in the and the transfer portals are open. So to me, that's weird. I don't think the spring transfer portal is a bad thing because I do think it gives more power to the players.
Yes. So I'm not going to yell at you and argue with you like I normally do with Drew. How about that? First one, we're going to agree. I think that we should do away with the December transfer portal.
Yes.
And add those 9 days to the spring transfer portal.
So
maybe
extend
that one, make it 15 to 18 days only in the spring, because at that point, like you said, you've gone through spring practice. You can see where I'm at on the depth chart. Is this going to be a good place for me to develop? Is this system something that I can develop and play in? And if not, I can see what else is out there. What's goofy is when you're in the middle of bowl prep, which I know bowl games don't matter. Like, keep your pitchforks away. But you're in the middle of bowl prep or playoff prep, and then all of a sudden you got guys bailing and bouncing out. You already got guys sitting out of bowl games because they're looking towards their NFL careers, which again is a different conversation. But the transfer portal being then is weird because the season is just ended. We've literally it starts around championship weekend when you got the SEC, Big Ten, ACC championships. It starts right after that. And so that can create some kooky things. Look, I'm all about the players getting paid and having power because coaches can leave during different times. But there is designated free agency periods in professional sports when you can pick up and sign free agents. And I think we need to do that. And I think it needs to be in the spring, after spring practice only. So I'm going to say that it's real that we should only have one, but it's counterfeit that they should do away with the spring. I think that's the one we should keep. Yeah, I mean, because you're talking about, and not that it really matters. These coaches are getting paid a lot of money to do their jobs. But that just imagine being a head coach of a football team that's in the middle of bowl prep, in the middle of the college football playoffs, and also having to re-recruit their roster in the middle of that as the season is happening. That to me is just a weird time frame to have it in the winter time like that. I do like the idea, like you said, of potentially bringing it down to one and making it longer in the spring going into summer. I like that idea. It also prevents, like at Mississippi State, we had this last year where Creed Whittemore, who's going to be our number one slot receiver, after the first two games was just like, all right, I'm just going to sit out and wait for the December transfer portal, and then sat out the rest of the season, hit the transfer portal, and transfer to Utah in December. I don't love that. Quitting on your team like that, I don't love that. I mean, I understand parts of it. Don't get me wrong. I get you're looking out for your future there. But I think a spring transfer portal gives you an opportunity to play for a season, play with your teammates, be there for your dudes, and leave it in the spring and spring only. You agree with Daniel here? He says he hates the transfer portal. There should be special exceptions only. You talk about old man yelling at the clouds. Daniel Greer, right? That's a get off my lawn type of comment. That's it, man. I disagree. I think the transfer portal is great because when coaches hit the transfer portal and they leave from Memphis to go to Florida State, they don't have to sit out for a year. They immediately start recruiting and coaching. So the players shouldn't have that. Now, I think could there be a limit on the number of times you hit the transfer portal? I'd be open to that conversation because then you don't have guys that are playing for 4 different teams in 4 years. It's hard to, as a fan, that kind of messes with the experience a little bit. Again, as the player, I am very pro get your money, but as a fan, I don't like that experience. And so for me, maybe a limit on the number of transfers, but no, I think the transfer portal should be here to stay. I agree with that totally. Every part of your argument is good. Yeah. So awesome. Next up. Staying in the college football lane, there has been a lot of talk about the playoffs, right? And what gets you in the playoffs and what allows your team to be standing above others, right? Alabama was a great example. They bitched and moaned and championed their cause, but hey, don't get boat raced by a 6-7 Oklahoma team and you're in. Ole Miss the same way. You go beat Georgia, that's super cute. You got embarrassed by Kentucky, a bad Kentucky team, right? So one of the things that's been presented is beefing up non-conference schedules. And the SEC and the Big Ten, I've been in negotiations about this for a while, but it's starting to get some traction to where the SEC would add a 9th conference game. They would play a Big Ten team and then 2 other non-conferences, which you and I both know that's going to be Little Sisters of the Poor and the Mississippi School for the Deaf and Blind, right? Those 2 schools are going to, if you're adding a Big Ten team, they're going to play high school teams, right? But real or counterfeit, an SEC Big Ten matchup like that is good for college football / good for the playoffs. I think those are 2 different arguments, right? Good for the playoffs, good for college football. I think as somebody who is a Memphis Tiger fan, that ruins who basically they live off of their non-conference because their conference schedule is so bad, right? The conference that they're in is so bad. It has been very difficult for the Tigers to get actual quality opponents in. Well, because they know you're going to beat them. They don't want to get their ass beat by the Memphis Tigers and be out of the playoffs. Come on, man. Seth Hennig had been spinning it, man. They ain't playing him. but it's crazy because even this year they have Arkansas coming in to the Liberty Bowl or to the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. I think that is. To me, that is a conversation that is being dominated by this
lack of parity in college football. The Big Ten and the SEC are by far and above the best football conferences in the country. And to me, it feels like a sign of the times of like what's about to happen to college football. Like, I genuinely wonder what the SEC and the Big Ten are going to look like in terms of their relationship with the NCAA in the next 5 years.
I mean, there's smoke. There's all kind of smoke with that rumor, right? That Greg Sankey is looking at pulling the SEC out, pulling the Big Ten, maybe the ACC, but it looks like the ACC is going to get poached even more with rumors of Florida State and a couple others looking towards the Big Ten as future candidates, which I don't necessarily hate, because the NCAA is one of the most crooked, and like FIBA are the most crooked organizations in the entire world, right? Like, there's just so many backdoor deals and under the table exchanging of money and greasing of palms that it's just disgusting. And so I don't necessarily hate that. Yeah. But as a fan of the SEC, ACC college basketball challenge, or the Big 10, Big 12, I love that. That's such good sports and TV for me as a fan, that I'm all for this. And they're trying to make it to where it'd be like a 16-16. So you got all 16 teams and they would play, based on tiers. So like, you get your Alabama or Georgia and Ohio State, your Tennessee, LSU, Michigan, state would be more like a lower tier with like an Iowa State, Iowa, kind of rank it like that. Vanderbilt, Northwestern, see who's smarter or dumber, whichever one you want to call it. But I think it's good for the fan. And I think it's going to help for the playoffs, because now you're going to have a stronger resume, builds it a little bit more. If you go, like Ohio State went 11-1, and their one loss was to Oregon. Right. Like, that's a great resume that's going to get you in. If Alabama goes undefeated, but they lose to Ohio State, at Ohio State, that's still a great resume that's going to get you in.
Do you think that the conversation, I would highly suspect that Sankey and the Big Ten commissioner will be like, okay, listen, we will do this. Like, we're going to do this where we play each other, not these non-conference games. We're going to play each other. The strength of schedule is going to skyrocket. Your TV ad dollars are going to go crazy. There's going to be so much money floating around these games. But the only way we'll do this is if you guarantee that the SEC and the Big Ten get 8 of the 12 playoff spots.
I mean,
because what happens then if Alabama schedules a Michigan game, non-conference Michigan game, they lose that game, and then they go through the SEC gauntlet and lose a game, whatever it may be. They're still one of the best teams in the country, but they have 3 losses. They have 2 losses. Are they out? Like, they're gonna be guaranteed. I don't think that's gonna be able to that's going to be sustainable if the NCAA agrees to say, we will absolutely put this amount of teams from both of these conferences in the playoffs.
I mean, if you look back, they'll have the weight to be able to do that. Because if you look back at the last 15, 20 years, it's been SEC and Ohio State, Michigan, and then Clemson, right? Like, that's really been your national champs, right? It's bounced around the SEC. So they would have the weight to throw behind that to make that happen. But you talk about like other conferences will be up in arms, like the Big 12, ACC, the new up and budding Pac-12 would absolutely pitch a fit if that was the case.
And they won't care, because guess who makes these decisions? You think it's the NCAA that makes these decisions? No. ESPN makes these decisions.
Makers, man. It's the ad revenue generators.
They're the decisions.
Which the interesting thing about that, Kenny, speaking of that, is, Ohio State, the state of Ohio is introducing legislation to where they won't allow big, like, top 10 matchups to kick off at that noon or 11 a.m. Central time slot. So what does that look like? Because the SEC plays a ton of games on ESPN. They highlight now that 12 o'clock noon kick on ESPN is one of the SEC's big games of the week.
Right.
So then is Ohio State then going to play at Austin at 12 a.m. in August? Brother, those guys would die.
What is the CBS game early on at 11 or 12? Is that
so? It's a not no. Like, when you start getting late in the season, the big matchups, they're the 2:30. But they do have. Okay. They used to have like an 11:30 slot when they took over for Jefferson Pilot. Now they've moved out to they have a 2:30 and then a 7 when they do a doubleheader. They'll do like Auburn, Georgia at 2:30 and Bama and LSU at 7 or whatever, whoever's playing.
Yeah.
But that's where, like, that's the big thing is, like, this will absolutely happen because of ad revenue, money that's going to be generated, because these are going to be marquee primetime matches. You talk about sports bars selling out, you talk about high-end commercials, like, they will be able to charge a premium for a
tap
commercial
rooms
slot for a
tap
230
rooms in the city of Memphis selling out.
selling out. Absolutely. ... But it's going to be such a big money market because you can't tell me that every bar, every tap room, every event space in Memphis won't be filled for a 230 kick between Ohio State and Texas in September to the max. And you talk about like that would be flirting, not quite, but flirting with Super Bowl ad pricing because that's a massive college football matchup.
Massive. As a fan, I'd be excited about it.
Oh, I love that, man.
As a fan,
junkie.
as a junkie, dude, I'm like, hell yeah, like let's do that. But
let's go.
But what does it mean for our beloved city of Memphis and the University of Memphis Tigers and those G5 schools, those non-power? Because really, basically, right now it's the Power 4 conferences. Mm-hmm. That's basically going to go Power 1, Power 2 conferences. Mm-hmm. And everybody else. And so
you're still going to have one spot for a G5.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe. I mean, would they? Yeah. Like, I don't.
I mean, maybe not, because Boise State absolutely just crapped the bed this past year, and so like you're not going to get there. So for me, for the Memphis Tigers, if this is what's coming down the pipe, I am shaving my legs, putting on my best makeup, getting my hair did, because I'm going to try and join the Pac-12 or the Big Ten or the SEC and make myself as attractable as I can.
The SEC and the Big Ten will never happen. The only option I think they have is ACC. And then again, it's like, okay, but they're still going to be on the outs if they're not a part of the Big Ten or the SEC. Like it's just the way of it's a way of college sports, man. It's the way it's going.
That's it, because you're just catching the tail, right? Because the ACC has been big, but if Florida State goes to the Big Ten and Clemson goes to the SEC, for example, and then you move in the ACC, it's like, day late, dollar short, and not a part of it. You're still on the outside looking in.
You're still on the outside looking in. Yeah.
Yep. And lastly, on this Real versus Counterfeit segment, that's usually every Thursday, but moving to Wednesdays at 11 o'clock, we'll be talking about Real versus Counterfeit here. Just like this every week. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to stay and talk NCAA and expansion. Kenny, we're getting some traction again for the NCAA tournament, right? Like this happens every couple of years where it's like 64 is not enough, so we move to 68. Well, now 68 is not enough. Let's go to 72 or 76. I'm not too young to remember when they were looking at 96 teams back in the day, just like 12 years ago. So Real versus Counterfeit, the NCAA basketball tournament needs to expand for relevancy.
No, I think that's Counterfeit. I think that's Counterfeit.
Don't know where your audio went, bud.
Can you hear me?
While he gets his mic situation figured out, I'm going to talk about it because I think it's bogus. Like it already is diluted to the fact that we've got these 68 teams. You get these play-in teams that step in and may or may not belong there. And I understand about the bubble and first four in, first four out. Like I understand what that looks like, but I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know what that turns into. Like at some point you got to cut it off, right, Kenny? Like at some point you got to say enough's enough, right?
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's about relevancy at all. I think you saw Charlie Baker from the NCAA come out and say the reason we want to do this is because every year there's a couple of teams that don't make the tournament that probably deserve to get in. That's not what this is about. This is about money. This is about making dollars. This is about adding one or two more games to the equation to make that ad revenue. Which, if that's what it is, then be real about it and say that's what this is about. Like, and that's cool. But at the same time, it's like I don't know what other than adding two more games that are play-in games for teams that are 11, 9, 6 seeds, 11 seeds, whatever. It doesn't change the competitive dynamic of the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. All it does is just add more opportunity to make money. And again, that's what the NCAA is all about anyway. They are listen, bro, you said this. I have so many issues with the NCAA and I think mainly it's because it's a $4 billion not for profit. Yeah. That 75% of his budget comes from our taxpayer dollars with zero oversight onto the decisions and what they do and why they do it. And so to me, it's like, just be honest with what you're about here. You're not about competitive competitive parity or competitive advantage or anything like that. You're about making money, and that's okay. Just be honest with us and don't try to like stick it up us and say like, hey, listen, this is what we want to add more teams, because there's some teams that are just question marks, because there's always going to be question marks. Every time you create a bubble, that even if that bubble expands, there's still teams that are going to be on the outside of that bubble. What's the conversation going to be in 3 years? Oh, well, listen, hey, there's 180 teams that think they should get in. Well, the bubble, the standard of the bubble will always be some teams are in, some teams are out.
And that creates that competitive dichotomy, right? And that was my bad. My AirPods apparently flamed out. Like it went to my computer from AirPods, so that was my bad. But like it creates that competitive dichotomy that like an Alabama or a Creighton or whoever is on that bubble, and they get hot and make a conference tourney run, and they get in and they can win a few games and get deep in the tournament. Like that's always going to be there, whether it's 12 teams, 64 teams, or 180 teams. That's not going to matter.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing that Rob Manfred, who, shout out to him, he's the only reason that Adam Silver is not the worst commissioner in all of professional sports, because that dude is effing up professional baseball, and I am a huge baseball junkie.
Right.
But they put a pitch clock and they shorten games to keep fan interested. But if you look up, their TV runtime is the same. Like the whole reason they did it was for ads. It's the same reason Adam Silver wants to go from 48 to 40 minutes on their games. It's for more commercials. It's not about player integrity. It's not about protecting the game. It's not about adding more teams on the bubble. Kenny, you nailed it. It's about making more money. And again, here on the Jukebox Sports Show, we are pro teams getting a bag. Like we are pro teams making money and people making money. Right. But be honest about those intentions. Don't hide behind a 501c3 not-for-profit label and you make $4 billion that you can do with whatever you choose. Like,
right.
I'm not okay with that part. I'm okay with making the money, but be honest with me about why you're trying to do it.
Yeah. I mean, just again, even the Adam Silver thing that we talked, like this idea of like reducing the schedule because of, and the way that they said it was, let's reduce the number of games played so that players don't get injured. That is absolutely not what this is about. It is about money. It's about trying to, even the expansion side of things, right? Like you're trying to expand into other, like, what are you going to do if you put a team across across another continent and say you got to travel across oceans to play basketball? That's not about player safety. It's just, it's a level of gaslighting by these people in charge that tell you this is what this is about. And it's just not. Like,
that's the Miss America answer, right? Like, what do you want most in life? And they're like, world peace. What does Adam Silver want most in life? Player safety. Get out of here, nerd. You want to make money. We all want to make money. That's what's most important when you run a business, is making money.
Adam Silver would be a much better commissioner if he was a fan of the game. How many jump shots do you think he's put up in his life?
I think it's a negative number. Like, he has put up like -8 jump shots in his life.
100%. Great comment.
With the heat. And that's a great way to end that segment. Thanks for hanging out with us. Real versus Counterfeit. We got a lot of basketball to talk about. But before we get to that, we do have an awesome partnership that we are excited to partner with here in Memphis called Ounce of Hope. Ounce of Hope is your local cannabis dispensary here in Memphis that put out the best seltzers I've ever had, put out great gummies. I've got a jar of them right here, some sativa gummies that they kindly gave me to help me sleep. Like, yeah, man, we love Ounce of Hope around here. Kenny and I are big fans of the Cherry Jane and the Peach Buzz seltzers. I'm putting in an order on Ounce of Hope right now to get some sent here. Yes, sir. The marshmallow edible, brother. It is right on time when you need to go to bed. It's good stuff. But you can use the code Bluff City, all capital, all Bluff City at ouncehope.com for 15% off your first order. It cannot be combined with other offers. It's a great way to kind of get in the game. And Kenny here has a great commercial that we're going to run now. Take a quick break, let y'all hear a little bit more about our partner.
Looking for an alternative to alcohol or conventional medicine? Check out Ounce of Hope, a Memphis-based dispensary with 2 local stores in the Sanderlin Center and on South Cooper Street. You can get all the products you need in a location convenient to you. Each store offers an intentional shopping experience with dedicated bud tenders to answer all of your questions, from product selection and mushroom blends to our personal favorite, the Delta 9 seltzers. You gotta try the Peach Buzz. Try Ounce of Hope at either one of their 2 Memphis stores or at www.ounceofhope.com for convenient products shipped right to your door. Use the promo code Bluff City for 15% off any order, excluding sale items. Cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions or discounts. One use per customer.
Yes, sir. We love those guys, man.
Let me tell you something, man. Just as a quick plug on Ounce of Hope. I sleep terribly, Rusty. Like I don't sleep well at all. And this morning I woke up and I was just feeling groggy. Like I just wasn't feeling good. I drank my coffee, which makes me feel jittery and all this kind of stuff. I get home from a meeting that we had earlier this morning, and I pop in these rebound pills, these rebound capsules. And let me tell you something, man, like immediately cleared up this fog, this kind of like, I just kind of was like, blah, like just tired. And my brain felt like I was moving, like I was watching myself, like I was kind of moving slowly. And I popped a couple of these rebound pills, dude, and I'm feeling fantastic. Like, and it's literally just all natural hemp extracts. Like it is great stuff. And so shout out to Ounce of Hope, man. They do some amazing stuff just to help you feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some great stuff coming down the pipe with them later this summer. Stay tuned. Y'all don't want to miss some of the announcements we got coming. We're super excited to partner with Cam and Colin and the gang over at Ounce of Hope and ounceofhope.com. Speaking of feeling good, I did want to touch on this really quickly. I'm a fan of this. I meant to say something about this in Real versus Counterfeit. They lowered the win percentage for college football head coaches to get into the Hall of Fame from 60 to 59.5. Now Mike Leach, a great champion and pioneer of the game of the air raid offense that helped grow that faction of college football, is going to be in his last job at my alma mater. I met him in Starkville one time in passing. Just a great, super nice guy. A great, just humanitarian in person, and so would love to see him get into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yep. Shout out to Mike Leach.
Yes,
Rest
sir.
in peace, man. Yep.
All right, so this segment being brought to you by Ounce of Hope. We're going to talk about an ounce of hope for the Memphis Grizzlies. Kenny, you and I have been watching the playoffs, obviously, religiously throughout the last few weeks.
Yes.
And watching the Indiana Pacers, who are a win away from the NBA Finals, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who punched their ticket last night in a beatdown of Minnesota, kind of set, in my opinion, and I'm curious what your thought on this, they are setting kind of the standard or the mold in which I think the Memphis Grizzlies can follow in their steps.
Yeah.
Right. So think about it. You've got a top tier player. As much as we want to hate and call him an overrated player, Hallie's been amazing in these playoffs.
Oh, God,
right?
He's awesome. Yeah.
So you got Hallie, you got Ja, you got SGA. It's kind of like a top tier player, right? You step down a little bit. You've got a insert Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam this last playoffs, especially against the Knicks. That guy's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
You had Jaren and then good Jalen Williams for the Thunder.
Whew.
And then outside of that, it's a bunch of role players who know their role, right?
Right.
You've got Nembhard and Mathurin, who are just energy guys, dog defenders who can score on a nightly basis if you need them to, but understand their role. You got Obi Toppin, who is a rebound, put back, dunk.
Yes.
Just extraordinaire so far in these playoffs. Then you think about the Thunder and how deep they are. You got the big Jalen Williams. You got Aaron Wiggins. You've got Lou Dort, Kason Wallace, and all these role players that fit a niche. And they are both well under the aprons. Is that a mold do you think the Grizzlies, A, can follow, and B, are we closer to that than we think we are?
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. I think the Grizzlies, I think that is a model that the Grizzlies have been trying to fit for a long time, right? Like, I don't think that's I think it is clear that, you know, we talk about the core three, we talk about the three big players for the Grizzlies. And I think that people can have their opinions on how talented are the other two guys in that equation outside of Ja. There's no denying Ja's talent, right? And his ability to lead, to be, when he's out there and when he's playing, when he's engaged, he is as dynamic as there is as anybody is in the league. So we can have the conversation around Jaren, around Desmond, about, you know, where they are in terms of this core three idea, this big three idea.
I do like the core three better than big three. I like that term better.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies have been. I think the Grizzlies are notorious for being a team that's not willing to go into the tax aprons to outfit their roster, right? Like they've tried really hard to stay, in those areas of, I guess, of their of the roster financially to not have to pay a bunch of money,
right,
or to have any of the implications that happen with being inside of those aprons. But I think it's pretty clear the Grizzlies are Ja's team moving forward. And it's just kind of trying to figure out, how do you do you have to move off of one of those guys, one of Jaren or Desmond, to be able to outfit the roster the way that you look at the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, to get guys that are those Robin-esque type players who are just those role guys who know exactly what they're doing, who have a role, who know their skill set, and just live there. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah, that's what
it does. No, it does make sense. And I think this is a mold that we can follow, right? Because I think gone are the days of the big three superstars, right? Like the Heat three or the Warrior three, like those days with these new aprons as a version, as averted to teams are to paying these tax penalties. I don't know that we'll ever see that again, at least under this iteration of the CBA. What's going to have to happen? And I know Wayno's been talking about this a lot in our comments. He talks about like not being a copycat league where we try and copycat and copy everything a championship team does. I can appreciate that, but this model to me works a little bit better given our cap space, being in a small market, and what we bring to the table. We're never going to be the team that can go and poach a Kevin Durant level player from free agency. Until proven otherwise, that's going to be my stance, just because that hasn't happened. But if we can go get some role players who like to win, and that's the big thing that stands out to me about the Pacers, is those dudes hate losing. They play 48 minutes, play their asses off for 48 minutes, and just dogged intensity, dogged mentality to where they just get after people. Like, you give me a team full of those dudes, and I'm happy. And I'll gladly copy that mold, because that's how you create a winning culture and a winning basketball program. We have a great winning culture. We do. We have a good culture in Memphis. That's been a thing that we've had for a while. The thing that I need to see more of is the winning culture and that winning mental edge. So maybe that's not going and trying to land a Jimmy Butler and a Kevin Durant and maybe even a Giannis to try and get the big splashy free agent. But where are we going to find our Obi Toppin or our Alex Caruso or our Nembhard or Neesmith, these guys that other teams are just kind of done with, right? Obi Toppin. Like, when are we going to go find those guys that just are just winners? They just play hard, give everything they got for that name on the front of their jersey. And that's how you can build a team. And I think that's the mold we can follow, Kenny. NBA University tweeted this out yesterday, and I thought this was fascinating. I wanted to talk about this as well. They were looking at the tax bills and team performances since 2012. I don't know if you saw that they posted that yesterday. But there have been 6 teams that have not paid any tax bills since 2012. And those 6 teams are the Pistons, the Hornets, the Kings, the Magic, the Hawks, and the Pacers. The Pacers have not paid a single tax bill since 2012. So they're on the cusp of the NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder, I saw them, they're on here, but they have paid, I think, 2 years. So that 5 years they've paid into the tax, but they don't have a championship. All the teams that have won since 2012 have paid the tax bill. So we see, like, maybe does spending mean winning, Kenny? Or are the Pacers going to be the first team that kind of bucks that trend?
No, I don't think they're going to win this year. But I think what I would consider what they're doing right now already a win, right? Getting to the NBA Finals, hopefully, if they win tonight and beat the New York Knicks, I think, so yeah. Do I think that the method in which they're doing it by not paying attention? Will it win them a championship? I don't think so. Not because they're not willing to spend the money, but because Oklahoma City is just a better team, right?
Just that good, right?
They're just that good. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about 2 small. I mean, I love the fact that we're talking about 2 small market teams that are going to be in this NBA final, right? Like,
especially as a hoops fanatic, man, that's gonna be awesome.
And I think it definitely does then kind of say, it's not even what Wayno's saying about it, like about being a shadow league where you're just kind of copying what other people are doing. I think it kind of gives some hope to teams like the Memphis Grizzlies to say, listen, just develop your players. He also said, Wayno said this a few minutes ago, if Vince and Gigi are half the players we thought they were going to be at the start of the season, it ends a whole lot more positive. Listen, I genuinely think that Kleiman, the front office, are building this team the exact same way that Indiana and Oklahoma City are in terms of having homegrown talent kind of at the back end of the bench. The issue is that these last 2 years have been lost to injury for those guys, right? Like Gigi Jackson, there's no denying the talent level that he has. Can he recover? Can he become the player that most people think that he can become? Will he accept the role that most people think that he should accept? I saw Brevin Knight said this in a Night Court podcast episode. He said, he was asked, what do you want Gigi's role to look like for the Grizzlies this coming year? And he said, I want him to be a more athletic, more explosive John Conchar. Will he be willing to do that? Like, that's the question. Will Vince be able to will his ankle and all of his injuries that he's experienced, will he be able to stay healthy long enough to fulfill that role? Right? Like, I do think that the Grizzlies have guys that could potentially fill those roles that you're talking about that we see with Indiana, Oklahoma City. It might not happen, and that's just the roll of the dice, right? But I think they're trying to build their franchises the same way, their rosters the same way.
The Thunder, the last time they paid into the taxes, 2019. A lot of these guys were not on the team in 2019, right? That's when they moved off of Paul George, and that's when they were able to get SGA and make the changes. So that's kind of where they're going now. Listen, like, the more I've watched and followed John Conchar, give me a team full of guys who play like John Conchar, right? They just play hard, do the things you need. Like, we don't need a bunch of guys coming in trying to be scorers. We got Ja, we got Dez, we got Jaren. We just need those hustle guys. And if Gigi's willing to do that, like Vince has been, then that's all we need. Is we need some hustle guys like that. You bring up an interesting point though with health, right? Like, that's the thing I think has been obviously holding us back the most, right? We saw it this year. Ja Morant has never played more than 8 playoff games in a playoff stretch, and he hadn't played 65 games in 4 years. Because you look at that Oklahoma City, we obviously live rent free in their head, because as soon as they won last night, their beat reporter is tweeting out, but Morant had this team figured out, knowing good and damn well he absolutely did, because we were just housing them in that game until Lou Dort takes out Ja Morant. And that series is completely different. Now, without Ja, you can put Caruso and Chet, Caruso and Hartenstein on Jaren and dare anybody else to score and beat them, and nobody else could.
Yep.
A player's best ability is availability, and that's what we need. I need Ja to get his body right, get his mind right, get plugged in. A wise man told me earlier today that the Grizzlies need to be less cool and more focused on basketball and basketball activities.
We were sitting down over coffee this morning talking, and I have this theory that I've been kind of running through my brain, and we love to make fun of Memphians. We just think we're cool, right? Like, we think we're the arbiters of what's cool and what's not cool, right? Like, we are, right? And rightly so, I think, in a lot of ways. But we even people on this even shows on this network, we have discussed Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and been like, these guys are just corny as hell, bro. Like, posting videos of a young Tyrese Halliburton singing songs and Jalen Brunson, and it's just like, oh, it's so corny. And I'm like, bro, like, truthfully, like, what I really, really want more so than anything else is a basketball player, a star basketball player on this team, to be corny about basketball. Just be all in on basketball and not trying to be cool, not trying to do just be all in. Just be all in on basketball, getting your body right, getting your mind right. And let's see what it looks like to play more than however many games Ja has played over the last couple of years. Play a lot of games and see how far, play more than 8 games in a playoff run, and see how far, see how the narrative changes about him and the accolades and the financial stuff that comes in for him. Like, I don't care about being cool. Yes, Ja has the coolest, his shoes are dope. His in-game dunks are awesome. His highlight packages are great. He's got some dope lines. Like, we don't.
He partnered with freaking Kool-Aid, man. Kool-Aid.
Right. Like, we run up the chimney, bro. Play basketball. Be in on basketball. Like, get your
let's
body
pass an
right,
offering plate, man. This man is preaching, man. Absolutely right. Like, I don't want to hear no more about this. We ain't ducking no smoke. We're running up the chimney until you are running up the chimney in late May. It's late May, smoke. And it's late May, and those corny dudes are still playing basketball while you're in Cabo, right?
Right.
I saw yesterday, there's always these little sections of of every fan base, right? That just loves to hate on things about your team, right? You look outside of the Memphis Grizzlies fan base, and most, by and large, probably 99% of people are like, Jaren Jackson Jr. is an elite basketball player. There's a faction of our fan base that loves to argue that he's not.
So weird.
They were giving him hell yesterday on Twitter about him posting himself in boxing gloves and like, man, just get out there and hoop, do basketball drills. What are you doing? This is corny. Get him off my team. Personally, that is the stuff I want to see. That's getting tough. That's getting hands. That's hand-eye coordination. That's cardio. That's toughness. That's upper body strength that Jaren has struggled with. It's these same nerds that are giving him hell about not rebounding. Now he's doing things that are going to help him rebounding, and now you're giving him crap for that. Like, personally, that's what I want to see more of that. Like, I want to see less of the Cabo stuff and more of boxing, more of getting my body right, getting ready to go. Like, that to me is being corny for basketball and getting in shape and getting yourself ready to go for what's going to be a contract year for him. Like, we need more dudes like that on this team, in my opinion.
100%, man. Like, we need dudes on this Memphis Grizzlies team who are just completely bought in on playing basketball, of just getting better at the game, right? Like, man, I would love for Ja to be corny next year and just be a hooper, bro. Be a corny hooper and just go out there and ball out. Because, like, anyway, yeah, that's all.
SGA, like, to tie it all back in as we talk about, like, as we're heading towards the championship game, the championship series, like, the dude is corny. He's a free throw merchant. He foul hunts, but like, SGA keeps his nose clean. He plays hard, and you can watch the evolution of his game and how he's developed that midi and developed the ability to control and contort his body to get these fouls. Love it, like it, or hate it. Personally, I hate it, but he's figured out a way to evolve his game. That's where we are. Like, our team has hit a ceiling, right? Health has been a huge part of that. What are we going to do to get our bodies right, to get over not only the health hump, but take our game to the next level? For Jaren, that's rebounding, getting the paint more. Unless we can get another rebounder, he can be that stretch three, which is more like what he plays like. But for Ja to develop a consistent mid-range game, a consistent being healthy, Desmond to stop dribbling the basketball, period. Just be a catch-and-shoot dude again. Because when he was catch-and-shoot a few years ago, he made the NBA three-point competition. Like, he was lethal. We've got those dudes that are available on our team. We just got to have them available for the games.
Right. I just get this, and I don't mean to hate on Ja at all. I love Ja Morant. Like, same. I think he is phenomenal.
I fight for that dude, man.
Like, always. A phenomenal basketball player. I think he is the only way that the Grizzlies ever do anything in the NBA playoffs is if Ja Morant is playing at peak level Ja Morant. But I got this image. I saw this behind the scenes clip after Oklahoma City lost Game 3 by 40 points to Minnesota, and they had Shea. Is it Shea or Shy? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Shea, yeah.
Mic'd up, and he was talking about on the bench in the middle of the game.
I saw this.
Said, "This is why we lost. These are compounding mistakes on compounding mistakes on compounding. If we had just done this, all these other things wouldn't have mattered, but we did this. Starting the game off, we did this." And I was like, Jesus Christ. I remember John Shiesty, right? Like, I remember Ja sitting on the bench moping. I remember that. And I just go, God bless. I want that. I wish. I cannot wait for the day.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for the day that Ja Morant is that dude. And he might very well be that guy now. We don't have to see him mic'd up. I don't want to just assume that that's not the case, but it feels like that to me. And I need him to grow in that area.
Couldn't have said it better myself. He's checked out on the back row where SGA's in the middle of a loss, rallying the troops. That there's a reason SGA is still playing and Pascal Siakam is still playing, because you saw that video that came out of him preseason. I've watched that like a dozen times now. That just fires me up, man. Yeah. It's the contrast of what we saw from Ja and what Ant said last night when he said, why am I upset? Like, I'm 23. Like, I've been back-to-back years. Like, I'm not upset about this loss. Like, to me, that's more of a red flag because, brother, like, this is the NBA. Like, you may not be back in this situation. Like, you need to be hungry to get back and not just be like, man, I'm not mad we lost. Like, we made it here. Like, that is a complacent and a settling mentality that will not get you back to the NBA conference finals.
I agree with that. I did read that and I was like, huh. And then I read later on, he was like, man, I'm upset for myself, but more so for Mike Conley. And I love that. Like that to me, I was like, okay, he's like, man, I'll be back. Like, he believes in himself enough to say, man, I can lead a team back here. Sure. But this might be one of Mike Conley's last years to play basketball. And you could tell you've heard him say this over the year. He plays for Mike Conley. Like, he wants to see Mike Conley get a shot at an NBA championship. And I can appreciate that as a massive fan of Mike Conley. I appreciated that level of like empathy, not even empathy, but just kind of like humility to say, man, an awareness to go, man, listen, I play, like, these are my vets, man. Like, these are my guys. And I let them down, right? Like, that's the part that upset him. I appreciated that.
Yeah. So we need dudes like that on this Grizzlies team. But Kenny, as we wrap up this show, we got to talk about what we're going to do this weekend before we talk again on Monday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the $2 Sports Show. We are live here on Thursday for the last time as we transition to Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Central. Wayno, sorry, I know you're watching this at like 3 a.m. 2 days from now or whatever time travel looks like.
In the future.
Like, sorry, brother, you got to get up a little bit earlier, but 11 a.m. Central starting Monday, June 2nd. Couldn't be more excited about that and what that looks like for us going forward. But, Kenny, there are other things going on this weekend. What is up in your world over the next couple of days?
Man, I am going to be spending my time around the house. It has been these last 2 weekends. We don't have volleyball going on right now. We have I mowed the yard yesterday because it's gonna rain over the next couple of days here in Memphis. So I got the yard work done. Right now, my honey-do list is really long. Like, so I have on my list, I have to paint the stairway upstairs, going upstairs. I got to paint the roof, the ceiling. I've got to repaint some baseboards in my house. I love to paint.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
same. Painting is like super therapeutic for me. So I'm gonna be knee deep in house paint this weekend.
I like that, man. I'm getting ready to paint my dad's house here in the not so distant future. And as a guy who just painting is very like therapeutic and cathartic for me, like I could just go to town. I love it. Maggie's gonna come do the edges and trim work, and I'm just gonna get the big brush and just go to town.
I love it. Yep.
For me, this is one of my favorite weekends of the year. College baseball regionals kick off tomorrow morning. I'm super stoked. Mississippi State's playing at Tallahassee. The last time we played in Tallahassee with an interim coach, we shocked the world and beat the great Frank Martin's Florida State Seminoles and advanced to a super where we got swept, but that's neither here nor there. We made it out of the regionals, and I look for us to do that again, especially because we're on the verge of announcing a new head coach in Starkville in one Brian O'Connor. He's been at Virginia forever, took them to a College World Series championship about 3 or 4 years ago. They're perennial residents in Omaha. And everything that's coming out is it's not a done deal, but it's basically a done deal that the Oak is leaving Virginia and coming to Starkville. Couldn't be more excited about this pickup as one of the pillars of college baseball, comes to one of the premier programs. And word on the street is he's bringing his pitching coach with him, who is also an elite level recruiter and high level pitching coach in college baseball. So super stoked about that news trickling out of Starkville. You've got a couple others that are coming out. There's going to be some great regionals. You know, the Coastal Carolina one's going to be a lot of fun. I look for Ole Miss to get beat, mostly because I'm a hater, but Georgia Tech also, they're the first ACC champion to not host a regional in over 20 years. And so they're pissed off. They're playing in Oxford. Go beat those bums. I'm here for it. There's going to be a lot of great college baseball. So if you're not really into it, this is a great weekend to check it out. Watch some baseball. It's a lot of fun. These kids play hard. They care about their teams. They care about what they're doing. I'm going to be locked in and watching a ton of baseball over the next 3 days, and I'm super stoked about it.
Who's favored to win the World Series, the College Baseball World Series?
This is what's so great. It's Arkansas, and it's always Arkansas, but they never make it to Omaha, right? They made it the last couple of years, and then just fluke things happen. It couldn't make me happier that it's Arkansas, because they are those dudes that always are like getting to the dance, but they can't quite finish, right? They can't seal the deal, and I love it. So it's Arkansas is the odds-on favorite, followed by LSU, Texas, North Carolina, Auburn, and Georgia are your top 5 like odds-on favorites to win it all this year.
I was in Fayetteville. I have family in Fayetteville, and it was the start of the baseball season a few months ago, and I was there, and I was asking them, because they got John Calipari as their head coach now, their basketball head coach, and I was like, man, are you guys just amped up and excited? And my brother-in-law looks at me and he says, Kenny, it's baseball season now. Basketball is out the window. And I was like, what in the world, dude? How big is SEC baseball? How big is college baseball down here?
I mean, you look back, SEC has won like 6 out of the last 7 national championships you've had, and different ones, right? LSU, Tennessee, you've had State, you've had Ole Miss, you've had Arkansas compete, like A&M, and last year it was A&M and Tennessee were competing for it.
Right.
It is a big, big deal in the state of Mississippi. Like Duty Noble in Starkville, our baseball stadium is literally the best venue for college baseball in I would argue in the country. And so we've got to get Brian O'Connor would be huge. I'm trying to like be a bit reserved, because if he comes, like that's going to be huge for us, because baseball matters to us. Like we're competing against Alabama and LSU and Auburn and these schools for these recruits and trying to compete in football. Our niche is baseball. We're a baseball school, so we've always done. We basically have permanent residency in Omaha, and so I want to see us get back to that. Why not this year? So in 2007, 2012, like these teams had no business going to Omaha, and we just got hot and played our way into Omaha. And so, dadgummit, I'm fired up. I'm all in. Hail State, go do it again.
If I have to choose a Mississippi team to root for, it is absolutely Mississippi State over the weekend. So I am going to be a resident Bulldog. Hail State, let's go. Let's go win the College World Series. Let's do it.
Sir. Kenny, that's why you're the honorary 3rd buck, moving your way into the 2nd buck position. That's for sure.
No, Drew, it's not true.
It's not true. It's not true. But thanks for tuning in and hanging with us today. Kenny, my guy, thank you for being here, sir. It was a great show. Great chatting with you as always, man. Wayno, King Meeks, Edward, everybody in the comments, thank y'all for being here, man. Jay, appreciate y'all hanging out with us. This is a great show, great time. Y'all are what make us better, interacting with us, talking to us. So please hop in our comments, be here. We love to interact with y'all. In the meantime, go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend, and we will see y'all on Monday.
Thank you for listening to the 2 Buck Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.